I said something the other day about coming on at some point, and we have to realize we have to come out from the oppression of what Rome is.
Roman's oppression.
Rome's oppression. Well, this is exactly, and I'm not against the system. The system is there to produce an intention. It's there to see if we're willing to sovereignly define ourselves. So I can take the same, again, this by saying that, it could be said one way, or, well, Rome is this nature, it's a bad guy, and I'm not saying that. If I rightly define what Rome is, when I said that last week, Rome by definition means, it's from the word rum, which means lofty, and it means to elevate. And so it's exactly connected to be betrothed, which is the word for it to be truth. So Rome by vibration means to be lofty. You're going to have to know how to rise yourself. It's only a projection that's put upon us, and we've allowed it to subjugate us.
Right.
But when we know how to rise into its intention, we overstand, and therefore we are. And so I could say, if someone says, well, Rome is this, I say, I'm vibrating to the Greek frequency. I know what Rome is, but it does not control me. It does not oppress me. I've risen into a higher vibration to know what it's asking me to be. It's
so
a government.
In other words, just the knowing what is and what is not. And as a government, it governs the mind until we can take the head and elevate it into the place where we're sovereign standing.
That's exactly why I started it with that sentence. Until you can sense in sovereignty and know what it is, you're most likely going to have a sovereign over you.
Right.
And that's what Rome is. It's waiting for those to no longer be oppressed and come through the system to be a standing one.
Exactly. Because they're trying, this whole thing is about reparenting yourself, guys. It's about reparenting ourselves, because none of our parents taught us this. None of them were educated in this. None of us raised us up in the way that we were to go through the languages, because they didn't have it. So we're having to reparent ourselves so that we can do this for future generations. Like Heather and I were talking about in our interview about epigenetics, about how it changes us. So for future generations, they are going to be raised in an environment where those things have been brought out and cleared out of our DNA, our genetic coding. So we don't have to keep passing on things and cycles that we repeat over and over again, which have generally been based in fear. Right? We are transmuting everything into love, perfecting it, casting out fear, so future generations don't have to have that heavy oppression over them through that frequency. So did that answer your question, Rick, about drilling down on that? Okay, you can do the same thing with Aramaic. It's just a matter of you just getting in there and trying to dig it out yourself and take a look at what we're saying and suggesting to you. And I recommend everyone to do it, even if you don't have the letters memorized yet. Start getting into the software programs, start digging in and see what's going on. Because, when you begin to look and see how many different ways the word Rosh is written, it will blow your mind, because it's trying to communicate something, and all of that gets left out in translation. It doesn't come across in the English surface translations because they didn't have the oral tradition. The oral tradition was not written down as the Talmud. The oral tradition was how to look at the letters individually, how they were speaking to us in their energetic frequency, so that we could recreate the tree of life within. That's really what it was all about. And it was guarded and it was protected. This was not something that was just thrown about for anybody to just mess around with because of the power of it. We're talking about rewriting our DNA and changing the matrix. It's pretty powerful stuff.